Hey everybody, welcome back to the Poker Vlog, Poker with Kids. This is episode number 49 and we have a special one today. We have packages in the mail, and this time, not one, but two packages from Jack's Poker. Ordered some chips, had a special on their Bold Pyramid, which is essentially the Cleopatra style chips, which we have sets of. These ones, you've seen them in some other videos. I've got a whole 1,000 chip set of those, which get the occasional use there. Really nice set of chips. But they had those going as essentially blanks without the little label inside. They had those going cheap, 12 cents a chip, which is an absolute bargain. And I've been thinking about making my own set. Essentially thinking about doing a custom set, but given that I can get chips so cheap, there's no need to go down the custom chip path and sort of pay $1 or more per chip, and spend 4 figures on a poker set. So I picked up some chips. We'll get to those in a minute, but first we'll open the other part of the package, which has two things. The first is something to go with the Dream of One Day Building table. It's a chip tray. Not sure if I'm. I mean, at the moment, I'm actually looking at doing a folding table. But this could still work with a folding table. You essentially have a cutout at one end and sort of sit this across the fold. Also gives me the possibility of multitasking, as it were. You can sort of have it as your own chips while you're dealing, if you want to do it that way, or just as a separate dealer and have a dealer tray. So that's one part of the purchase. The other ones were some sample chips, and there's a real variety in I've got three different sets. So Jack's Casino chips. This is the updated design, or supposed to be. One thing that I just noticed as I did the first take of this is that in the set that I've got, I actually had the $1 or one chip, given that this one doesn't have denominations, is actually the original style. The rest of the chips are the new style. So you've got the comparison of the different graphic. So the chips are essentially the same. Again, the solid color with the double white edge spots sort of thing. But the graphic in the center and the placement and display of the denominations is a bit different. So the old one, you've got the very, I suppose, two-dimensional looking spade with the Jack's Casino at the top and the denomination down the bottom. In the new chip, you've got the two-tone sort of split spade with a Jack's Casino in the middle, and the denominations are diagonal opposites with dollar signs as well. The original ones just have the value. This one has the denominations with the value, and it actually looks a little bit smaller than one here, a little bit larger than the 5 in this one. Having said that, the chips themselves perfectly fine. You've got 25s, your 10s, 5s, all sorts of values that you use. So you can use them as a cash set with 1s, 5s, 10s, 25s, that sort of thing. Going up to 50s, 100s, 500s. Really like this purple color. 1000s and 5000s. So you can also use them as a tournament set as well. So they're not too bad for a cheap chip set. Like I said, good variety of colours. Don't really, nothing that's really going to get easily confused in terms of colours. The only thing that might be a bit of a stretch is some, like, you can still really clearly see the denominations, but from a distance, if you're unfamiliar with the colours and the denominations, you might be able to, the actual value of the denominations on the chip maybe could be a little bit bigger. But for the most part, a fairly nice little set of chips, and if you're looking for a cheap set, that could be a good path to go down. The second set of sample set that I ordered, something's actually rather kind of disappointed with, actually, to be honest. This is the Casino Royale chips, supposedly James Bond inspired, that type of thing. These are the chips themselves. Nothing particularly special, to be honest, about the design. The basic layout of the chip, fairly standard. You'll notice that there's a shine in the middle. This center part is actually a glossy, almost like a glossy plastic overlay, very similar to what you have with something like the Lucky Luciano chips, or even the Asconas that that Jacks also sell. And personally, I don't particularly like having the plastic overlay. The basic design is very similar to a multicolor chip. So they've got that sort of, I suppose, crowny kind of logo-y design there that looks very similar to the multicolor one. And unless you're physically holding the chips and feel that, okay, this one's heavier because it's a weighted chip and this one's a bit lighter, visually they look pretty similar. Why would you pay 3 or 4 times the amount for this compared to this? So to me, okay, but nothing special, nothing to sort of write home about that I'd really want to fork out for these chips. Also, the colours on some of the colours, for example, there's 5. The red just doesn't really stand out very well. It's a really sort of, I suppose, a faded sort of looking red. The 10, which is a denomination that I wouldn't use myself. An unusual shade of green for the 25. Not really very sort of bright and vivid colours that easily stand out. Okay, the hundreds of black, that's fine, no problems with that. The blue 500, again, looks fine, no problems with that. The 1000, again, it's sort of a faded yellow. It's not a very bright yellow, not very bold, and they've gone for white for the 500, so not a lot you can do with white. But yeah, a little bit disappointing. Again, the colours from the side, you can sort of distinguish them all reasonably well. They've all got that sort of same pattern with the, on the side you've got the two edge spots, which don't obviously go into the face of the chip. They really only just sit on the very edge of the chip. So it's really just the edge spots there for show. It's not really a any kind of, oh look, this goes all the way around, so it's not a true edge spot. It's just something that looks fancy for the side. So to be honest, I don't particularly like these ones. So yeah, they're the Casino Royale James Bond inspired ones. I know that APT actually use a similar type of chip without the glossy finish that they've used at some of their tournaments for some of the smaller events, and that I imagine would be a cheaper chip and looks very similar, if not slightly better than this one. And I just don't really think it's worth paying the premium for this kind of chip, but that's my opinion. Yours might be different. A little addendum to the Casino Royale. This is the $25 Jacks poker one with the you can see there the glossy inlay on the 25. I realised I actually had a sample from pokershop.com.au, which is the ones that they actually use at the APT. Strikingly similar. The design itself is effectively the same. There's really only 2 differences. One, you've got the plastic overlay here where you don't in this one, and the size of the denomination. Here you've got 25 written in a pretty large font, 25 in a bit of a smaller font, but they have that exact same font, exact same writing around the outside, Casino Royale, in looks like almost exactly the same font, slightly bigger on the pokershop.com.au chip. The crowny kind of pattern around the outside is identical. There's a slight variation in the fake edge spots in terms of the color and size, but they're effectively the same chip. I think this one's much cheaper. This one is slightly heavier than this one. And I said I've used these plenty of times before at APT events. So they're partnering up with pokershop.com.au for chip supplies, so they get all their chips from pokershop.com.au and have their have a store there at most series. But these are the ones that they offer at pokershop.com.au. Cheaper and very similar to the new ones that they've got from Jack's. So I wasn't overly impressed with them, and if I can get these ones for less price, I'd be happy with these ones. And to be honest, I don't overly like these ones myself either. So not particularly enamored with either of these ones, but just there as a comparison, two different manufacturers, two different shops, two different options. One a ceramic, what they call a luxury ceramic with the plastic overlay, and the regular sort of just ABS plastic, possibly weighted with maybe a little metal insert, maybe not, but a cheaper alternative at pokershop.com.au. And the third chipset that I got is their new Shark City one, which look like this in a low denomination chips. And it's no surprise that it's very much a take on the old Star City, with the name Star City Shark City, which then became the Star, and you'll notice that same sort of swirly double color design around the outside. So you've got the black inlay with the denomination. You've got the that sort of dual color swirl kind of pattern on the outside, which is the same one that we've done here. So pretty obvious where they've tried to get these in much the same way as their Crown Millions, I think, or whatever they're called, tournament chips, are very similar in appearance to the sets that they use at Crown in Melbourne. But these ones, like the design, good variety of colours, good variety of denominations. You've got 25 cent, you've got a 50 cent, so good to have both of those small denominations. Personally, I go for the 25 cent. Not only do I like the colours better, I like that sort of two-tone blue rather than sort of, I suppose, white and brown, looks like. Definitely prefer this one. And the options that you got with a 25 cent chip are a bit more than with a 50 cent chip. You can have like a 25 cent, 50 cent game, which obviously you can't do with a 50 cent chip, and just have more 25 cent chips rather than all playing with 50 cent chips. So very easy to work around with this rather than using this. Dollars look nice. Again, you can see the similarities. These are slightly more vibrant colors than the actual casino chip, but very, very similar in terms of the colors and pattern. Slight differences, but for the most part, very, very similar. You can see where they've got their inspiration from. Then got to the fires, which is maybe one of my disappointments. It's a bit of a darker red. Not sure that I really like the dark red. The 10, which I personally wouldn't be using, but it's a little bit close to the 1 for my liking in terms of colors. They're both like shades of blue. From a distance, they could be confused, even looking at them on the side. A slight variation, but not really much. 25 is a really nice bold green and yellow, like that one. The black with the green for the 100. Again, a really nice colour, really bold, really stands out. Bit of an unusual shading here for the 500. And they've also gone for 2 different colours for the high denomination one. So you've got like this, almost like a pastel-y purple with like red and white on the little sort of side swirls. You've got the tiger-looking 1000, the orange with the black and white, and you've got, I suppose, the bumblebee, the yellow with the black and white for the 5000. So again, good that you can use them for a variety. Could be a cash game set, could be a tournament set, could be a bigger stakes cash game set as well. So a variety of things you can use them for. One minor complaint about the sets, and that has to do with the finishing of the chips. Nothing wrong with the chips themselves. As I said, the design, you can see where they've got their inspiration, but perfectly fine with the design. But given that they are molded, but they clearly have those little spots where obviously the injection of the materials happened, and that's where that's come out. So all of the chips have that little sort of dot on the side, and it is not very noticeable, but if you rub your finger across it, you can definitely feel, hey, there is that little slightly raised area where that sort of production bit is. So that's really my one knock on the chips, just that they've all got that. There's no effort's kind of been made because it's a sort of a glossy edge, so you don't really want to try and buff it off, that you might take off some of that gloss on the edge. But apart from that, perfectly fine. The edge spots that they have are actual edge spots that do actually go onto the face. You've got that little half semicircle that they've got on all the chips, and that again runs around so down the bottom and up the top here, that runs around the side and then onto the face. I suppose the other minor gripe as well is in terms of the labeling. So you've got here, up, and not the same way. So if you rotate them at an angle, they can be on the top, but if you just go sort of straight around the side, they're not actually lined up. Those labels on there, or although it's not a label, it's actually printed onto the chip, being a ceramic. But yeah, that's my my one gripe and my minor gripe, and they're pretty small as it is. So little the molding manufacturing sort of tag that you can see on the edge of the chips, as well as the fact that the center sort of inlay part is not lined up on both sides. But overall, very nice set of chips. And if I was looking for a more expensive either cash or tournament chip set, I'd definitely look at investing in those. So well done again to the Jack's Poker design team for coming up with these ones. They're a nice set. The second part of the order was a much heavier, much larger. Got myself a Viper case. Another one, obviously got my other Cleopatra set in a case just like this. This one is going to become my Sydney Roosters custom set that I'm looking to make eventually. We'll get to the chips inside in a moment. But yeah, this has got the second part of the order. So here we can see inside the case with the top row of chips and the 007 deck that came at an issue purchase. I think it was over $100 or $150 worth of value. So we're now taking the plastic off at least the top row that we'll use for the chips, and we'll get to looking at those in a moment. And then the underside of the case with the remainder of the chips, which we'll take out in a minute. So we've got the top and the bottom section of the Viper case with altogether 1,000 chips. So getting to the chips, ideally I'd like to have a set that effectively matches the Cleopatra set that I've already got. So your sort of light blue chip, your 25¢, white $1, red $5, green 25, and black 100, which is the standard colours that they use in Australia, in Vegas, and vast majority of places around the world. However, given what was available on the Jack's website, things like the really common ones, the green and red chips, were unavailable. So based on what was actually available, I've gone, okay, what I can do is I can go for the California colours. For whatever reason, they have a slightly different take on the colours. They run with a blue chip for $, which worked out fine. They have a yellow chip for $5. They have a purple chip, which I couldn't get, for 25s. So what I've actually done is I actually went to order these, and they said, oh, sorry, we only have literally four chips in stock. So not the quantity that I wanted, so I had a slight reshuffle, rejig. I've gone for the whites, which in California are the hundreds. They become my high denomination chips of $25, and the blacks become the 25-cent chips. So yeah, that's what the plan is. So yeah, so the original plan was to have 5 different denominations based on chip availability. We're running with 4. So we have a 25¢, $1, $5, $25. That's the plan anyway, and I'll probably do another video later on at some point looking at working up some labels. Basically what I'm trying to do with this, again, with having the 4 different denominations, actually works out really well, because in the history of the Sydney Roosters / Sydney City Roosters / Eastern Suburbs Roosters, they've had 4 different logos. The plan with the 4 denominations, again, is on each side of one of the chips have the Roosters logo from that era, and on the opposite side a player from that era. So I'm looking at the early days logo with Arthur Beetson, the 70s, 80s, early 90s logo with Kerry Bowstead, the person that actually got me into the Roosters. A guy named Kerry Bowstead, kind of similar to my name, Kerry said. So yeah, he was, I went, oh yeah, it's almost like I'm playing rugby league, so I'm going for his team. Then he moved to Manly, and parents went, no, you picked the Roosters, you're staying with the Roosters. So I'm a Roosters fan. The $1 chip with the late 90s, 2000s Brad Fittler. And I think we're running with the 25¢, with the modern current day logo, and Victor the Inflictor, Victor Radley. So I'll probably do another video of those. The plan is to get some labels made up with those sort of graphics printed on, and then go through the fun, painstaking job of putting them on the chips, and hopefully it'll turn out to be a pretty nice custom set done fairly cheaply. So we'll see how that goes, but that will be another video later on with all these different projects that I've got sort of in the works, along like the poker table. That's something that's been in the planning for a while, but hasn't really gone. It's gone part of the way down the production track, but hasn't quite got all the way there. This one, obviously, we've got we now have all the chips, so a long way down the path of actually becoming a reality. So that's going to wrap up vlog number 49. Number 50 is not far away, hopefully. Thank you for those people that have subscribed and are watchers, albeit that it's not huge numbers, but better to have some watchers than no watchers at all. Thank you for watching, and those people that said hi to me at tournaments and stuff like that. Much appreciated. Good to know that some people are actually watching what I'm doing and are liking what I'm doing, which is good to see. Hopefully one day the channel will get a bit bigger, but for the moment, I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Might one day work on increasing the production value slightly, but for the moment, happy doing what I'm doing and giving you a little bit of an insight into what I'm doing in the world of poker. So thanks again. Again, thanks for making it this far. Like, share, subscribe if you want to see more of my content in the future. And thanks for watching. Number 50 coming soon.